Good morning, everybody. So nice to see everyone. I'm going to ask everyone to come take their seats. We are going to begin our stream in just a moment. Here, Karen's here too. Put that by your chair. Okay. Here, Karen's here too. She's by your chair. Okay, so Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome. As you get settled, a few ground rules before we move into official ceremony. So good morning, I am Cantor Elizabeth Sacks. I know most of you, but not all of you, and we welcome you here this morning. We say Shabbat Shalom to everyone who is here with us physically, and we're going to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone who's on the stream watching. So everyone turn around and wave and say Shabbat Shalom! Shabbat Shalom! Very, very nice. We'll be doing that periodically throughout the morning as we make this one giant community that we are all here together. So we are going to start with words of welcome. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. How beautiful is it that we are all here together on this day in whatever way we are. So we sing as we center ourselves, as we bring ourselves into this holy space. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Smile with your eyes. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Just a few notes about our experience here this morning. So the first thing I'm going to assure you of, because it is very present in my mind, is that the noise that you can hear behind me is very much muted on the stream itself. That is more an issue for us who are here today in person than it's going to be for people who are watching. So no worries. Dan has us covered. He's going to make sure everything is A-okay. We are thankful and grateful to be able to accommodate being in person with each other for an experience like this, for an amazing morning where we celebrate a very special young man who is going to teach us and inspire us with Torah. And we also recognize that in the midst of our public health crisis, that we are all doing our best to keep each other safe and healthy. And so I'm going to ask two things. One, I'm going to ask that everyone wear their masks for the entirety of the service. If you feel like you need to take it off for a moment, we are blessed with beautiful large grounds here at Temple Emmanuel. You are welcome to walk outside and around the building to one of our larger grassy areas and just give yourself a little bit of space. There are restrooms around the corner. You enter through the back of the sanctuary and take a quick left. Those are available for you on this morning as well. For those of you participating in this ceremony, we are going to do our best to accommodate social distancing as we walk through the morning. So please do not hesitate to put yourself in the space that makes you feel the most comfortable so that we can celebrate with joy and with confidence and be able to be respectful of everyone's wishes on this morning. Before we begin with our official ceremony, I'm going to invite Michael and Julie to come and stand with us under the tent and talk a little bit about some of the ritual objects that we are going to be using today.
Andrew, beginning first of all with, if you'll turn your head, your yarmulke is from Israel, and that comes to you from Jerusalem, from a trip that Daddy took with a group of gentlemen a couple years ago. So that joins you, and I have the matching one.
And then when you're reading from the Torah, the yad that you're using also came from Israel from the fabulous trip that Dad took and was given to you by Grandnan, by Nan, by my mom. so that you have it to hold today and whenever you read Torah again.
And then lastly, this absolutely beautiful talit that is giving you a big hug is from your Aunt Sarah Deitch.
I feel so warm.
Exactly. And this is beautifully adorned and will be something that we hope you will have as part of your life and all life cycles forevermore.
Amen. So, Andrew, we hope and pray that you will continue to use all of these really beautiful and holy objects in health and in great spirit as you continue on your Jewish journey forward. Just put this down for a minute. So most of you who are gathered here today are familiar with what does it mean to become a bar mitzvah. But for those who are watching on our stream and who might need a little bit more of an explanation, today we welcome Andrew into being a Jewish adult. Hooray! And we do that always with foundation in tradition and Torah. Our Torah scroll, which we will talk about much more in just a moment, guides us and supports us as we move through our Jewish life. And so our ceremony this morning is going to be centered almost exclusively around Torah. If you are participating in the ceremony by having an aliyah, the words for those aliyot, for that blessing, is on the orange pieces of paper. So if you have not picked up one of those and would like one, I encourage you to do so right now. We as Jews, we pass our tradition from generation to generation. It is how we ensure that our faith and our people and our history continues. And so to begin this morning, it is with great pleasure that I am going to invite your grandma, Nancy, and your parents, Julie and Michael, and even your brother, Matthew, to come and represent the chain of tradition. I'm going to take a step out here to give everyone a little bit more room. Nancy, why don't you stay right there, okay? Perfect. Perfect. You guys did that beautifully. It's almost like you've seen this happen before.
Only a couple times.
Only a couple times. So, Andrew, I hold in my arms this Torah scroll. And this Torah scroll represents all of the other Torah scrolls that we have here at Temple Emmanuel, including our Torah scroll from the community of Polim, which is a community in Czechoslovakia that was severely affected by the Holocaust. And I mention this because we often tell the story of that Torah scroll to remind us that we as a people have lived and sometimes suffered by the values and the idea of keeping Torah close to us. It is a beautiful thing, and sometimes it is a hard thing to maintain this tradition. And today we pass that on to you with great love and with a great sense of responsibility, but also with a great sense of surety that you will take this and make it your own. This Torah contains stories and laws and rules and values and ethics that shape and form and inform how you will continue to grow and live your life. This Torah and those that are similar to it, this Torah surely shapes the way your family lives their life. And so it is with great love that we will officially pass this to you in just a moment. And hear and feel all that that represents. But before we do that, I'm going to ask your grandmother to read a blessing, which I have for you right here. And then your parents will read a blessing as well, each of them, in representation of passing down this chain of tradition. Nancy?
Andrew, our hearts are one on this most joyous day. commit yourself to a life of Torah. You actually have already done that. A life, we pray, filled with wisdom, caring, and right action. We pray that you will grow each day in compassion for the needy, in concern for the stranger, and in love of all people.
So Michael and Julie, I'm going to ask each of you to step right into the microphone as you read your blessing as well.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rebekah, Jacob and Rachel and Leah, bless you on becoming B'nai Mitzvah.
May you grow with strength and courage, with vision and sensitivity, and may you always be certain of our love. Amen.
Amen. So Andrew, I'm going to ask you to actually take a step outside the tent. You can come this way so that the tree does not hurt you. And stand right in front of that tent pole. Near the grandmother, right there. I'm going to walk this over to you in a sec. So Andrew, we pass this Torah to you in recognition of not only those who are standing here today, but also in recognition of those who are no longer with us on this morning. Your grandfather Richard and your grandfather Michael, both of whom lived lives dedicated to Torah and the Jewish tradition, are here with us this day. And if you can imagine even farther than that, generations past and past further, who held these values so dear, and that someday, far in the future, the chain of tradition will also extend in the other direction as you impact the world and pass these values on to future generations. And so I'm going to present you with this Torah, which you will hold very carefully. There you go. This hand. Right. Perfect. That was such a soccer player thing to do. Okay, that was really, really great. Beautiful. Excellent job. I want you to take a look into the stream. Make sure everyone who is watching can see how beautifully you hold this Sefer Torah. And then when you are ready, I'm going to ask you to walk around the table and we'll place it on the table. Nancy, you can take a seat. And as soon as... Beautiful. Julie and Michael, you can take a seat. Now you can go sit down too. Great job, everybody. We are going to flip this over. So in just a moment, Andrew's going to read from Torah. You ready?
I'm very ready.
All right, great job. While we are undressing our Torah scroll and getting it all set up for Andrew to read, a few notes about Torah itself. So, as many of you can see, the Torah is made from 2 poles of wood, parchment in the middle from sheep, usually, or cow or goat. In fact, in this Torah in particular, you can actually still see some of the spots on the animal from which the parchment came. And inside, if you take a quick look, you can see that there are letters that are handwritten with ink from plants and written using a turkey or sometimes a pigeon quill. I mention all of this to you because Torah is entirely natural. It comes from the earth. It comes from our natural resources. And we use that as a reminder of the glory of God's creation and our responsibility to sustain that creation that renews itself each day and to use it to help guide our lives. And so Torah not only reminds us of our particular history, but also reminds us of our universal responsibility to the entire world. In the Torah itself, you may notice, if you come and take a look at it, that the letters are decorated. They are not merely just the regular Hebrew letters. That comes from a Jewish value of hidur mitzvah. That means to make something that is commanded beautiful. We believe in the value of making our commandments special and holy. And then the last thing that I will say, which I know most of you know, is that Hebrew is a funny language in terms of how it reads. There are letters that are consonants, and then there are vowels that live above and below the lines, and that's generally how you read Hebrew. For fun, the Torah has no vowels and no punctuation. Now that is an ancient custom, not only because for thousands of years we have enjoyed torturing bar and bat mitzvah students, but also because it relates to the ancient practice of scroll writing, which allows us to put in and take out our own interpretation of what is in the text. And so in this way also, we remember that it is our responsibility to love the past, but make it our own. And so with that, on this morning, I'm going to space out your Torah. You know exactly where you start, right there. I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to invite Andrew to tell us a little bit, let's use this one for right now, about his Torah portion. Ready? Loud and slow.
The Torah portion for this Shabbat is Tazria-Metzora from the book of Leviticus. In this Torah portion, the Israelites learn the rules of ritual purity and public health. I will be reading from chapter 14, verses 33 through 48.
Beautiful, thank you. The other thing that I'm going to mention, which Andrew mentions in his Devar Torah later, and that we also are all aware of here, but just as a reminder, is that the Torah portion that Andrew is going to read is not the Torah portion for this Shabbat. And that is because we originally were going to celebrate Andrew's bar mitzvah in April. And so we have transplanted a Torah portion from Leviticus into this moment. None of us knew how prescient that was when we assigned this Torah portion many, many years ago. But Andrew's portion, which does deal with issues of health in community, is here today to help teach and inform us how we continue to use Torah as our guide. So for the first Aliyah, it is my privilege to call Michael and Felicia Greer to come and bless the Torah. Andrew, this is for you. Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayidaber Adonai el Moshe vel Haaron lemor. Ki tava'u el eretz Canaan asher ani noten lachem le'achuzah v'natati negad sarat beveit eretz achuzetchem uva asher lo habayit v'higi lakohen lemor kenega nirali babayit.
Beautiful job. Let's read some English. You got it? Get it there. Should stay. You can take it with 2 hands. There you go.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, When you enter the land of Canaan that I give to you as possession, and I inflict an eruptive plague upon a house in the land that you possess, the owner of the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, Something like a plague has appeared on my house.
That was beautiful. That was the most inflection I've ever heard in Leviticus. That was fantastic. Michael and Felicia will say the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chai olam nata b'Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Mazel tov. Wait, hold on one second. We have to do the next blessing. Mazel tov, mazel tov. You can return to your seats. Thank you so much. For our next Aliyah, for the second Aliyah, we call Pam Eber, Andrew's aunt, and Robert and Ben Eber, uncle and cousin, for the honor of blessing Torah. Please go ahead.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vetziva hakohen, ufinu et habayit. B'terem yavo hakohen, lirot et hanega, velo yitma kol asher babayit. Ve'achar chen, yavo hakohen, lirot et habayit. Ve'ra'a et hanega, ve'hine hanaga, b'kirot habayit. Sheka'arurot, yirakrakot, O Adam Damot, Umari Hen Shafal Min Hakir, Ve'atza HaKohen, Min Habayit El Petach Habayit, Ve'hiskir Et Habayit, Shivat Yamim.
Go, English. Got it. Perfect.
The priest shall order the house cleared before the priest enters to examine the plague, so that nothing in the house may become unclean. After that, the priest shall enter to examine the house. If when he examines the plague in the walls of the house is found to consist of greenish or reddish streaks that appear to go deep into the wall, the priest shall come out of the house to the entrance of the house and close up the house for 7 days.
Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tokeinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Virtual mazel tovs. Yeah, virtual hugging. Very, very nice. Thank you guys. Mazel tov. For our third aliyah, we call grandmother Nancy Noack and Aunt Stephanie McGee to come and bless Torah, Shulamit bat Moshe v'Sara, and Shoshana Batya bat Michael v'Shulamit. Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'shav hakohen bayom hashvi'i, v'ra'a v'hinei pasa hanega b'kirot habayit, v'tziva hakohen v'chiltzu et ha'avanim asher bahein anaga, v'hislichu eten el michutz la'ir el makom tamei, v'et habayit yaksia mibayit saviv, V'shavchu et ha'afar asher hiktu el michutz la'ir el makom tamei. V'latchu avanim acherot v'heviyu el tachat ha'avanim v'afar acher yikach v'tach et habayit.
English first. Here we go. Perfect.
If the plague again breaks out in the house after the stones, no, that's the wrong one. It's 3. Since 3. That's
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. I got it. We're all good. So you got a little bit of a preview for what's coming next.
On the 7th day the priest shall return. If he sees that the plague has spread on the walls of the house, the priest shall order the stones with the plague in them to be pulled out and cast outside the city into an impure place. The house shall be scraped inside all around, and the coating that is scraped off shall be dumped outside the city in an impure place. They shall take the other stones and replace those
Perfect.
stones with them and take other coating and plaster the house.
That was fantastic family helping.
Teamwork.
That was really, really great. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher natan lanu Torah emet,
v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Lots of virtual Mazel tovs. Good job. Okay. You doing okay?
Yes.
Okay. So now it is time to call Andrew's parents, Michael and Julie, to come and bless from Torah. Okay.
Oh, good job.
Thank you.
Adonai Hamvarach,
Baruch Adonai Ambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'im yashuv hanega ufarach babayit achar chileit et ha'avanim v'acharei hiktzot et habayit v'acharei hitoach uva hakohen v'ra'a v'hinei pasa hanega babayit tzaraat mam'eret hi babayit tamehu Venatat et habayit, et abanav et etzav, ve'ed koafar habayit, ve'hotzi el michutz la'ir, el makom tameh.
Beautiful job. Let's read English first.
If the plague again breaks out in the house, after the stones have been pulled out and after the house has been scraped and replastered, the priest shall come to examine. If the plague has spread in the house, it is a malignant eruption in the house. It is impure. The house shall be torn down, its stones and timber and all the coating in the house, and taken to an impure place outside the city.
Beautiful job.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Natan Lanu Torah Temet, V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Actual hugging. There we go. Michael and Julie are going to stay right here. Don't move. There we go. But
Don't leave me.
yeah. Right here. We will unpack that later. Okay, we are. Right now, we are going to take a brief pause from reading Torah. And we talked a little bit about the power of Torah earlier today. And part of what we do is, when the Torah is in front of us, is we take a moment to pray for healing, because we recognize and appreciate what this Torah has witnessed, and we take a moment to think about that as we pray for those in our lives who are in need of healing, in need of our strength, and in need of comfort on this day. And so in between the verses of this prayer, we will pause for a moment so that you can add your voices and think about the people in your lives who need healing on this day. Avotenu mekor abracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. On this Shabbat, we hold in our hearts Richard Bloom, Howard Bloom, Kathleen Lutzenegger, Brody Huber, Jerry Springberg, and these congregants, loved ones, and friends. We hold in our hearts all those affected by the wildfires in our country and all those who are fighting to save those affected by the wildfires in our country, those who are ill and suffering the effects of the coronavirus. And together we say, Baruch atah Adonai, makor harefuah, blessed are you, Adonai, source of healing. Mishaberach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And now, it is my great privilege and pleasure to call Andrew Francis Eber to the Torah for the first time as a bar mitzvah. And we call you with your Hebrew name, your name in the people of Israel, which represents, especially for you, so many years of your family's Jewish heritage and Jewish tradition. Yamon habachur habar mitzvah Gavriel Menachem Yitzchak ben Shalom Yosef v'Devora Hadassah Leah l'Aliyah HaTorah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
V'haba el habayit kol yamei hiskir oto yitma ad ha'arev v'ashav chev babayit yechabes et begadav v'aochel babayit yechabes et begadav v'im bo yavo hakohen v'ra'ah v'hinei lo fasa hanega babayit acharei hitoach et habayit V'tihar hakohen et habayit ki nirpa hanaga.
Beautiful.
Whoever enters the house while it is closed up shall be unclean until evening. Whoever sleeps in the house must wash his clothes, and whoever eats in the house must wash his clothes. If, however, the priest comes and sees that the plague has not spread in the house after the house is replastered, the priest shall pronounce the house clean, for the plague has healed. Healed.
Beautiful job. Let's do the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Together we say, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Ye'elanu, 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 Ulechol Yisrael. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, Ulechol hands one more time. You can let go of the Torah, it's okay.
Roly poly roly.
All right, I'm going to invite Michael and Julie to take a seat, and we are going to put the Torah away and prepare to read from Haftarah. So just a word or two about Haftarah before we head into our Haftarah moment. The Haftarah, contrary to the belief of almost every young child in our religious school, is not half a Torah, but instead, it is actually an additional teaching from our Bible. The Jewish Bible contains 3 parts, the first of which is the Torah. The second is a series of books of prophets that contain moral and ethical teachings. And we do this because for many, many years, as we spoke about briefly when we were holding Torah before, Jewish communities have been restricted from reading Torah. Multiple times throughout history, as a minority community living within a majority, the Jewish people have been forbidden from access to their holy text. And in their wisdom, the ancient leaders of our tradition, in order to comply for the safety and security of their community, looked to other parts of our text and said, if we are not able to read from Torah, we will still learn and we will still commit ourselves to a life of values. And so they looked to the next section, to the prophets, and went through each section and picked moments that connect thematically to every Torah portion. Andrew is going to give us a more specific intro to his Haftarah in just a moment. But the Haftarah that he is going to read for us connects mostly to the stories of public health that are found in his Torah portion. We only read a very small piece of the Haftarah, so it will not be as contextualized as it usually is. But some of the themes that connect these two remain care and concern for those in our community who are ill and therefore may need to interact with the community differently at any given moment. And so with that, I'm going to give Andrew his binder so that he can read his Haftarah introduction.
The Haftarah for this Shabbat is from 2 Kings chapter 7, verses 3 through 7. While the Torah portion describes the rituals surrounding disease on people and objects, this Haftarah tells the story of 4 individuals who have skin disease and their role at the end of the siege of Jerusalem. The reading can be found... Oh, we don't have that, so...
It's okay. That was perfect. To turn to your blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar bivim tovim v'ratzah v'direihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Ve'arba anashim hayu metzoraim petach hashar vayomru ish el re'eyu ma anachnu yoshvim po admanu imar marnu navo hayir v'harav ba'ir v'matnu sham v'im yashavnu fo v'matnu v'ata lechu v'nipla el machane aram im yachayunu nichei v'im yamitunu v'matnu v'yakumu v'nashef lavo el machane aram v'yavo ad ketzei machane aram v'hinei ein sham ish v'Adonai hishmiya et machane aram kol rechev kol sus kol chayil gadol v'yamru ish איש אל אחיו, הנה שכר עלינו, מלך ישראל, את מלכי החיתים, ואת מלכי מצרים לבוא עלינו, ויקומו, וינוסו ונשב, ויעזבו את הולכיהם, ואת סוסיהם, ואת המריהם, המחנה כאשר היא, וינוסו אל נפשם. At the entrance to the gate were 4 men, all lepers. They said to one another, "Why should we sit here until we die? If we decide to go into the city, we will die of the famine, and if we remain here, we will die as well. Better to desert to the Aramean camp. If they let us live, we will live. If they put us to death, they will be dead." At twilight, they made their way toward their Aramean camp. When they reached the edge of the camp, they not found a soul. The turtle had caused the Arameans to hear the sounds of horses and chariots, the sounds of a large army. So they had thought, the king of Israel must have paid the kings of the Hittites and of Egypt to attack us. And they had run away at twilight, leaving their tents, their horses, their mules, everything in their camp, just as it was. They had fled for their lives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Tzur kol olamim, tzadik b'chol dorot, ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shechol debarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevim, ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha ve'limnucha, lechavod u'tif'aret, Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, umbarachim otach, yitbarach shimcha, befi kol chai, tamid leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, baruch shemo, mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Andrew, Yasher Koach, which means amazing strength you have displayed this morning, and that's true. You have taught us from Torah with your chanting what it means to actually deliver a mitzvah with tremendous enthusiasm and strength. And so we thank you for that. And at this time, I invite you to take out your Devar Torah. As we spoke about before, really the essence of becoming bar mitzvah is the ability to learn from and grapple with and teach Torah. And so this morning, we are very privileged to hear Andrew's interpretation of his Torah portion and what it means for him to accept this awesome responsibility on this day. You ready?
I'm very ready.
Loud and slow.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
In my Torah portion, Tazria-Metzora, there's a lot of gross and possibly disgusting things that occur and that are talked about, including skin disease and discharge from sex organs. I won't go deep into the sex organs part of what that is. I searched Google and found that leprosy, which in the Torah can be on your house or on your body, is kind of like chicken pox, except for the fact that it is spread through coughing, spitting, and sneezing. Ironically, that is very similar to COVID-19 or coronavirus. As all of you know, COVID-19 has suspended many important things in my life, including going to Schwader camp in the summer, going on trips when school is over, and trips this fall and winter to Israel and England. It even suspended my weekly intake of Qdoba. But the biggest event that coronavirus has suspended for me was my original date of celebrating me becoming a bar mitzvah. If you don't already know, I was supposed to celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah on April 25th, 2020. But due to COVID-19, has been changed to today. The Torah spells out a very lengthy and specific process of ridding yourself or your house of leprosy. This includes removing your sheath from your bed and cleaning them, replastering your house, bathing many times, and washing the clothes that you've been wearing. From this, we can learn that actions sometimes have to be repeated many times over. Also, throughout Metzora, the Torah says that you have to wait 7 days for a priest to declare you and or your house pure, which for our purposes means free from the disease. Let's say that you aren't pure. That means that there is another 7-day period, and this process can be repeated over and over again. This is my life for a couple of reasons. I have to wait an extra 5 months for this amazing day to happen. Although you could say it's a great way to master my Torah readings in Haftarah, the truth is, it really wasn't. I was ready to rock in the middle of March. Even though I love practicing everything, after a while it just became repetitive. Throughout these days of waiting, I have learned a lot. It also made me even better at my Hebrew sections than I was before. I have gone over it many times, which helps me chant much more smoothly. On the other hand, the fact that I had to wait and go over the material so many times played into the fact that I can get bored very easily. And by easily, I mean if I don't really have anything to do, I get in a bad mood. This was very frustrating. In my Torah portion, the lepers must have felt the same way when they were quarantined and not allowed to be with people and go to places and be in their own home. They must have felt very unhappy with how their life was shaping out to be for multiple weeks in a row. In our lives, we don't know if there'll be a second wave of COVID-19 coming soon or not, but we can always hope and stay positive. In the future, if there were ever to be a pandemic again, which I sure hope not will be the case, I would attempt to always think about the good that can come out of this horrible thing. I believe that we can find something positive in life, even if it seems to all be horrible at the time. A positive attitude can be the wavelength to being happy in a sad time like a pandemic, or even having leprosy on you or on your house. I have learned many values throughout these periods of COVID-19 and the whole bar mitzvah process. The first is that not everything is going to go perfectly, and we're not always in control. I had many visions for 2020 and a lot of new and exciting things that I wanted to try out. I'm a very competitive person, and I have high expectations of myself. It's important for me to do well in everything, whether in sports, on the ski slopes, in school, or just wanting to be the best. On the ski slopes at Vail, there are many signs, including one saying, "Stay in control or you'll lose your pass." This shows that being in control can mean how can direct how you want to be viewed, and we cannot control that during this time, which means we could be viewed differently. A second value is that becoming an adult in the Jewish community takes a lot of patience. I have to wait many more months and days than I wanted to, which is good and bad. As a 13-year-old, being patient is real hard. You always want everything to happen right away, and you never want to wait long for something exciting to occur. Even something as simple as waiting an extra minute for my dad to finish a call to do something with me, or something as big as my bar mitzvah being postponed 5 months can drive me nuts. Sometimes the ability to wait and to have patience makes things even better because I had to wait. Patience is something that I've had to improve on in a huge way, and doing that has made me a better person. I've had many leadership opportunities throughout my life, and they include being in the ALT or Adventure Leadership team at my elementary school, which meant I went camping with first graders when I was in 4th grade. I will also become a web leader in 8th grade, which stands for Where Everybody Belongs. At one of my sports camps, I have been a CIT or coach in training. All of the experiences make me realize that people that help others and that are there for others will be more happy. Also for my bar mitzvah project, I was a coach for a training session for Rapids Youth Soccer Club for 5 to 8-year-olds. This was a great chance for me to share my soccer IQ and my skills with younger kids so they can become successful in a sport that they love. Where'd I go? Oh, being a role model can be looked at in a way as popular and as everybody looks up to be the main factor. A role model doesn't mean that I wear cool clothes, look cool, hang with cool people, even though I do hang with cool people. It means that people look at you and follow your actions because they know if I was doing it, then it is okay. Being a role model can show that you are popular because of the positive actions that you have done, like being kind and respectful, not only the ones about being cool. I also hope to one day become a counselor at Schwader Camp. Some of my biggest role models are the counselors I meet at 10,200 feet who help create the Schwader magic. My Jewish values have made me a better role model by being kind and respectful to everybody and helping others if they are in need of support. That is something that I pride in my life. Some things that I want to study Judaically include where we have come from and the evolution of the religion, and how Jewish people live around the world. I would love to travel around the world to see how Judaism is practiced in England or Scotland compared to Turkey and Iraq. At the temple, I'd like to continue learning about Judaism and about rules and regulations of being an adult in the community. I would love to continue celebrating my Judaism when I go to Schwader camp every summer. Because 1, very fun, 2, very fun, and 3, you guessed it, it's very fun. I would love to stay involved in the community and maybe even read from the Torah on occasional Shabbat mornings. Reading the Torah is something that I really enjoy, so that'd be very fun. Lastly, I have many people to acknowledge. First, I'd like to start with everybody tuning in virtually who cannot be here in person. You have all made an impact in my life and the way I live and thrive. I'd like to thank all of my Colorado and Maryland friends who have been great to be with and have cheered me up in bad times and made me laugh hysterically in great times. I would like to thank all of my B'nai Mitzvah teachers and tutors for helping me get to this day. I would also especially like to thank Liza Elkin for being my quarantine tutor and always making me happy about how I am doing on my Torah and Haftarah. I also would love to thank Rabbi Black for helping with my Devar Torah and answering all of my big Jewish questions. You've been an inspiration to me for a while, and being able to work with you has been an amazing experience. I would also like to thank Cantor Sacks and Steve Brodsky for teaching the B'nai Mitzvah class, and Cantor Sacks again for officiating at my bar mitzvah. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, starting with my own grandparent still alive, as I call her, Nan. Throughout these past 2 years, you have had 2 different times where you have had to get treatment for lung cancer. You have survived and been a trooper throughout the whole process, and it really shows how strong you are. You're an inspiration, and I know that I want to be like you when I am older. You always push me farther in topics including politics, a lot, and sports when I ask questions. Whenever I want to talk to you about something, you are always there to listen and answer my questions. You're a huge part of my life, and I love you very much. Matthew, even though we may get to arguments about random things and maybe don't always listen and... Wait, no, that's the wrong thing. And maybe don't like what each other do sometimes, you're always there for me when I need backup or when I am bored. Even when we argue harshly, I still sense that all of it is with love and that we do it because we love each other. You always make fun sounds that make us laugh uncontrollably, and you've always mocked my accents in a very funny and odd way. Even for when I called you Tootie when you're young and when I call you Matthew now, I have always loved being with you, and I know that you will continue to be great. Dad, you have been my guy since I came out. You never hate when I talk to you about stuff that you don't care about at all, and you always find a way to make me laugh. I could talk about baseball or soccer for like 45 minutes, and you still wouldn't try to get me to leave or go away. And you still always talk with me about it. Throughout my life, you have always cheered me up and have always had a positive vibe with me and Matthew and everybody that you were around. You are somebody that I admire greatly, and I want to be like you when I grow up. You are kind and respectful to everybody, even if you have no clue who they are, when you pass them on the road up to the mountain house. Thanks for everything that you do to support me with what I want to do in life and that I am interested. I love you. And last but not least, Mom. You're the most kind and respectful person to me and everybody else that I know. You can always love me and others, even when we break some of your pottery. You'll always care for me, and it doesn't matter if we have made a big mistake or not, you are always there for us. I can't say enough about how much you have impacted me throughout this process and throughout my life. You are always positive and will always support me and be there for me. You've embraced the fact that I may not agree to some of the same things that you do and still love me more than ever. Even though I might be your mini-me, you will still always be more in my heart. I love you. Now we'll conclude with a prayer of thanks, the Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Andrew, Yasher Koach doesn't feel strong enough to say at this moment. Really and truly, that was extraordinarily beautiful. We're going to have a lot more to say about that in just a moment. But now it is my pleasure to invite your parents to come and offer you words of blessing, and you do have to listen to them and not roll your eyes or raise your eyebrows while they're talking.
Got it.
So, Andrew, you're going to come stand over here.
Can you guys
And
get my water bottle?
yes, you absolutely can. Why don't you go ahead?
Thanks, Mommy. You're welcome, Mommy.
And Michael and Julie, feel free to lift the mic
Oh,
so that we can really hear everything.
What's the Torah? I am. You know, it's an Hebrew bar mitzvah when we have this.
That's right. Keeping the Schwader magic.
Absolutely. Take a second. It's
You
okay.
can take as much time as you need right now.
All right.
Right?
Yes.
So Andrew,
You can come closer to us.
I kind of live with you guys.
You kind of live with us.
so how are you feeling?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
So take a moment and absorb all that's going on around you. All of your accomplishments. See and smile at those people who are here and all of those people who are joining you virtually. You know, Andrew, we're all sharing in this simcha, this joyous milestone. Mazel tov. All these people here care deeply for you, are behind you now, and as you find your path while making your mark on the world.
Andrew, you amaze us, inspire us, and make us laugh, and teach us every day in countless ways. We couldn't be more proud of you.
You know, Andrew, today is your World Cup, your World Series, and you are now in the final minute of extended time, and it's the bottom of the ninth.
You rocked Plan B. In your comfortable shorts, as if we were at camp.
They're Nike.
Yes, they are. Only the best. The place you really wanted to be for your bar mitzvah. It's really amazing how things work out. You're wearing the talis Sarah made you, the yarmulke Dad picked out in Israel, and the yad from Nan Nan that was also purchased in Israel.
So I have a story for you,
Yes.
and I can hear your eyes rolling too.
You're not rolling.
Okay, good. Bless you. Today's story is a bit shorter, and you are the sole character. Okay, let me get to the best part. 13 years ago, you arrived, and even then you demonstrated drive, and soon you will be. The ability to focus on something and pursue it with discipline, passion, and commitment. From playing with cars and trucks in the hall, curating the perfect race, to building train tracks with complicated designs under and around the furniture, creating detailed stories about dinosaurs, and knowing the minute sports details, as well as navigating us amazingly well around cities and places with Google Maps. You showed us that when you are engaged, watch out. And of course, we can't forget all the times you beat us at board games, even when we are trying our hardest.
We've been calling you Cruiser since the day you moved in utero, and today you made that name come to life. As you cruise through your bar mitzvah with enthusiasm, excitement, and determination. Your I can do it attitude shined again as you embraced the experience from the very beginning, so long ago. Each day we relish in who you are and who you will become as you take on life with such amazing energy. Even with studying for a year, we know it shouldn't have been 7 months, you embraced the process and learned so fast the clergy started teaching you the trope and what all the Hebrew words meant so you would truly understand what you were reading today. Your gift of learning languages, be it piano, saxophone, Spanish, Chinese, Yiddish,
Since when do I know Chinese?
any words you like, shine through once more. We see your dedication to be the best you can be in school, sports, and with friends. You're a wonderful brother as you guide Matthew by showing patience as he navigates his world. You're an independent thinker whose opinions matter.
Andrew, we see your drive every day. In your soccer playing, mountain biking, skiing, along with your zeal for winning, on the field and the video console, and with your schoolwork. You've always been a hard worker, thoughtful, caring, considerate, and a kind soul. Your smile and laugh are contagious. Your friends love being with you, partially because you treat them so well, and also because your sense of humor lightens up the room.
At school, you encourage your peers to listen, learn, and be kind to one another. In fact, you became quite disturbed if they don't pay attention in class, a #1 complaint since 2nd grade. You are a rule follower, most of the time. As you told me once recently, Mom, I lie to you. You just have no idea when. I guess I better pay better attention. You love sports, reading the sports section daily in the Denver Post. Yes, we still support the Denver Post. And your commitment to mastery has shaped our family as we actually enjoy watching baseball. Shocker! And as ski day may even be cut short to watch the Broncos in the playoffs. Yes, I know that was a few years ago. We can only hope.
Well, maybe this year.
Maybe. You are a leader with your competitive soccer team, as you mentioned, and you are loving your new job refereeing, teaching soccer to younger ones. At school, you're a leader through web, where everybody belongs. Kids look to you.
So this year, you encountered many unknowns. Times when things weren't moving as fast as you wanted, or even being asked to do something in a way that might not have seemed entirely clear. You dealt with these big feelings, and either on your own or with the help from friends and parents, you found a way forward. The irony of your Torah portion is it's all about dealing with disease and the challenges that people face returning to the community after an ailment, which not only describes what you've encountered these last 5 months, it's also reflective of future viruses, uncertainties, and confusions that will come your way. Through all of it, you've shown flexibility, which was needed, not only in the days of leprosy, and also today with COVID.
Today in your Torah portion, you taught us some valuable lessons. Have hope and stay positive. Staying positive impacts your daily life and interactions you have with others.
Things may not go perfectly, and, coming from me as well, we may not always have control.
Becoming a Jewish adult takes time and patience.
You know, you can become better at Hebrew after practicing an extra 5 months.
Boredom teaches you how to handle frustrations and be patient for things to happen the way you desire. People who help others are happier and feel happier.
You know, Andrew, there's no doubt you will remember this day, along with those leading up to it, and we hope the ones following, for a lifetime. You have embraced Judaism through your love for Schwader Camp, traditions, rituals, and family celebrations. From those early days of going to Temple Micah in Washington, D.C., now in Denver, we have listened to you sing in temple and down the halls of our house, in the shower, at services, here at Temple Emmanuel, and at camp. Our hearts sing with joy, as our world is a Jewish one, with you helping lead the way. We have no doubt that youth group, camp, and trips to Israel will be part of your future. May you even pull that guitar out of the closet and decide to become a song leader someday. And you know, we know of just a few people that can help you with that one.
Just a few, and they love you. So, we are so blessed and lucky to have your grandnanny here physically with us and part of our daily lives. She is an inspiration to you. We deeply miss not having Papa, Gramps, and Grandma Pinky here too. Your grandfathers loved spending time with you, felling over you, and I know they were sad not seeing you today to reach this tremendous milestone. We know Grandma Pinky would have cherished you as well each and every day. You're named after her, you know. Yeah. They and all others, no longer with us, live with us every day in the memories, and we keep them alive in our home as we smile and laugh together.
Some final thoughts for you to carry into the future, Andrew.
Continue to be you, no matter what others say or do around you.
You are unique, one of a kind, and you will make an impact on the world. People follow your actions and look to you as a leader. That is a gift.
Keep striving to help others and stand up for what you believe in by leading through example.
Carry the lessons that you taught us so phenomenally and thoroughly today into your life. We know they will guide you on those rough days.
May your Jewish values continue to guide you in good and those challenging times in your life. Use them as a foundation for growth and improvement.
We know, just like in soccer, you have to cross the ball to get past the defenders to score. We suspect you will encounter probably many defenders in your life going forward. Whether like COVID delaying your bar mitzvah, the goal at the end of the day is simply keep passing the ball, aim for the goal, and shoot. You will make it happen.
You can be anything you desire. Keep taking the steps and paths to reach your goals, no matter how hard or challenging it may sometimes seem at that moment in time.
Be proud inside of what you accomplished today, as that is most important.
We look forward to seeing the man you will become, where this journey will take you, and how all your passions will guide you.
Keep being thoughtful, giving, helpful, funny, empathetic, and caring. And I can't wait to spend more time playing together with trains, soccer, racing down the ski mountains and mountain bike slopes together.
And remember, everything works out the way it's supposed to.
And so, as this story ends today, we know you will spread your wings and fly, going after your goals with drive and determination.
As you venture forward, remember, just like the raccoon in the story The Kissing Hand, we will always be with you in happy, sad, frustrating, scary, and celebratory times. Just put your hand to your cheek and feel our never-ending love.
We love you.
We love you. Awesome time. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Don't know.
Now right there?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Come with me. Let's come out here for a second. You need to stand right there so the camera can see you unencumbered. Good?
Yes.
Andrew, you can look at me a little bit too. So, Andrew Francis Eber. We have waited a long time to arrive at this moment today. And yet, even though we had a little bit more space than we had anticipated to come here, there are ways in which it has felt like we have been running toward this moment forever. Andrew, I hope you know what a blessing it is that every one of the members of the clergy team here at Temple Emmanuel wanted to be here today. It's not often that we have that conversation in a way that is real and true, because each and every one of us feels like we know you and your family and want, in the most beautiful and profound way, to be a part of this amazing experience. And so I bring with me here all of the blessings of all of the rabbis you have worked with, and the cantors you have worked with, and the counselors and the song leaders and the entire Jewish community, both here at Temple Emmanuel and in your wider Jewish world, who no doubt met you and met your parents and imagined this moment. You know, you pick it up, it's good. And many of you know that your family was one of the first families that I met when I moved here. And every time I think about your family, and particularly your parents, I think about this teaching in our Talmud, that there is a category of individuals who we say rush to do mitzvot. Their special Jewish gift is they run toward Jewish values. And that's for sure true. for your mom and your dad and your entire family. And they have, it's okay, you can hold it for right now. They have absolutely passed that on to you. We made a lot of jokes about how quickly you learned your Torah portion, but the truth is you learned it so quickly because you took your enthusiasm and your understanding of how awesome and cool this is, and you put it right in there. That's a tremendous gift, to know how to funnel your enthusiasm to something that really matters. And I hope you know how special that is, and that you will get to use that for many, many years to come. And we made a lot of jokes about how wonderful it is that we actually had to wait because now we get to do it outside, and because your voice fully changed and you're not cracking all over the place anymore. And that was helpful and useful for us to be able to release some of the anxiety and the disappointment that this day doesn't look exactly the way that you had imagined or that your parents had imagined. But even that ability to look at something that can feel frustrating and out of control and pull out silver linings and pull out things that actually feel good about this moment, even that is a special gift that lives inside of you, that I hope you know you can and should use and lean into for many, many years. You have so much talent and potential to make the world a better place. And that the blessing of your family is that often you take that for granted by just doing it. But know that, and know that we know that, and be proud of that. We also had a little bit of fun looking at your Hebrew name. It is very long. There's a lot of Hebrew names in that one Hebrew name. But Andrew, your first two names, Gabriel, Menachem, they really hold these two poles of Jewish life that we experience. Gabriel means strength, and Menachem is kindness. Strength and kindness, both of which you so amply displayed today in your Devar Torah, which you said with great strength, and your Torah portion, which you read with great strength, and your Haftarah, which you chanted with great strength. You really understand what does it mean to uphold strongly the Jewish tradition and to be strong for those around you here today. And kindness. So many of your words today were about what does it mean to be kind and care for others. So I hope that you know, especially in this moment in history, that strength and kindness can and must go hand in hand if we are going to really make this world what it needs to be. And that both of those things live so beautifully inside of you, and that you can use them to inspire those around you and to really, really bring about the world of peace and comfort and security for all that our tradition so strongly imagines. So Andrew, thank you for being who you are and for teaching us. And thank you for all the things that are yet to come. Mazel tov from every one of us here. I'm going to take one moment just to share with you a couple of gifts that I know you know are coming. We as a congregation celebrate every bar and bat mitzvah. It is not just about the individual family, it's about this whole community, and that is never more true than on this day. So you will receive from our congregation, when our gift shop finally opens, a certificate that has probably both your original date of bar mitzvah and this date as a way to remember and reflect on that. You will also receive financial gift toward travel to Israel, which I know is something that your family is very excited about for you. We have planted a tree in Israel in honor of your bar mitzvah, which represents a great many things, but also in particular for you this real care and connection to nature and Judaism, and that those coincide together. You will receive a kiddush cup and a mezuzah so that you can always have a Jewish home, no matter where you are. And last but not least, there is a book from the clergy team. It is a Torah commentary for teens called Text Messages. And on the inside front cover, yes, it's very funny when you think about it. On the inside front cover, each and every one of us has written a note for you about what an amazing pleasure it's been to watch you grow into the really inspirational young man you are today. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to invite your parents one more time to come stand right behind you. As you look out onto this beautiful congregation here and also into the congregation that is joining us online. Perfect. And we bless you. We bless you with words from Torah. We bless you with an ancient blessing that reminds us that each and every one of us is deserving of blessing, and that each and every one of us sometimes needs this blessing in order to remember who we are inside. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God shine light upon you and grant you compassion and grace. Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'asem lecha shalom. Shalom. Andrew, may God lift God's face towards you and grant you the greatest gift of all, the gift of wholeness, of fulfillment, and of peace. And together we all say, Amen. I'm going to ask Michael and Julie to go take a seat. Andrew, you can go take a seat right over there. As we transition to the end of our ceremony today, your parents so beautifully spoke in their blessing to you about the power of tradition and the power of remembering those in the past who continue to inspire and bless us. And so at the end of every service, we take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us. And on this Shabbat morning, we are particularly remembering Richard Eber, Betty Ann Bloom, and Bernice Cohen, as well as many names that are listed in your program. And so at this time, I'm going to ask each of us to rise as we are able, as together we say the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirteh ve'almith malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, va'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mavarach le'olam u'lomei omaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha v'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. And may the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we all say, Amen. And so now we are actually really and truly at the end. And we are going to finish our service this morning with a special song chosen just by Andrew that celebrates not only your connection to Schwager Camp, but also, as I pointed out, once we teach you the words in a second, a very appropriate COVID song for us. So if you know it, please do feel free to sing along. Are you ready? We say, we all live on our own mountain so high. Let's do that again. We all live on our own mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain to my mountain so high. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. Should we do it again? We all live on our own mountain so high. One more time. We all live on our own mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain to my mountain so high. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. Everyone say Mazel Tov, Andrew! And Shabbat Shalom. All right, go hug your family. Go. There you go.
Can we sing Simon Tov and Mazel Tov?
Go ahead. You can sing Simon Tov and Mazel Tov.
Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov.
Good job.
Dan, did you end?
I'm ending it right now.
Thank you, everybody. We love you. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.